listening to I'm Talking Podcast Metaverse series. Today, we invited Chief Operating Officer of OVR, Diego Di Domaso, to explain more about Metaverse NFT and the future of Art2Play through the interesting case of OVR global coverage. Hello, Diego. It's really nice to have you on I'm Talking Podcast.
Here, and especially it's a pleasure to be hosted by I'm Talking because it's one of the most used wallets to interact with our app, especially in China. So I'm super happy to be here as your host.
Could you get started with what OVR is trying to build and what is your role in this project?
So coming back to OVR and what we are building. So basically OVR is a platform for a decentralized platform for the metaverse. So basically what we are building is an infrastructure to geolocalize both AR and VR experiences to specific locations. So the way we do it is basically we created a system to divide the world in hexagons of 300 square meters. And each one of these hexagons, we call it spatial domains. That's because it's very similar to what happens with web domains on the web. So basically, if you own a web domain, you will decide what will be the content on that web page. While if you own one of our spatial domains, you will decide what will be the AR or VR content that you will see once you are in that location. Mm-hmm. And each one of these pieces of land, of this that we call OVR lands, basically are NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. So when I try to explain what is OVR, I really would like to stress the fact that we position ourselves as a platform, so as an infrastructure. So what we are building really are the building blocks to create a permanent metaverse. So to actually permanently mix physical and virtual world together. And this is done actually through, NFT that have been exploding in the last years, but we've been working with this standard since 2018 when we launched our project. And I think that is something that maybe sometimes is not understood enough yet, how these NFTs really are the building blocks of the metaverse. Because NFTs create new objects, create virtual objects that before the invention of these standards could not exist. And so these open up a new array of opportunities, because basically you can have permanent objects that exist in this metaverse that actually can also move between different metaverses. Mm-hmm. Like just to give you a specific example, you can use sandbox NFTs inside OVR. So we see this future of metaverses that combine with each other. Mm-hmm. And our vision and our goal is to be the standard for the AR metaverse. Because as you might know, metaverse is not really so well-defined word. So when you talk about metaverse, we think about virtual reality. We think about also social media sometimes. But our specific role in this metaverse is actually the AR. So the geolocalized augmented reality, so bringing the virtual assets and merging it with the physical world.
So the AR. And how did you find the transition point from augmented reality and virtual reality to NFT integration? Is there any correlation between those technology?
We are in the augmented reality business because we believe that it has a huge potential if compared, for example, to VR. And that's for a quite simple reason. So the first simple reason is that we live in a physical world. So yes, I can see a time in which we will spend a lot of time with our headset on. But usually we live in the physical world. So augmented reality helps you to actually live in the physical world, but combining the virtual with the physical. And the way, also the means, the instrument that you use to do that is much more spread, because there are few millions of headsets out there, but there are billions of smartphones. So there are like 5 billion smartphones. This is the estimation. And basically every one of us has one in his pocket. And smartphones is the technology that enables augmented reality. So that's why we are in AR, specifically more in AR than in VR. And of course, NFTs allows to create these digital objects. We can create 3D NFT assets that can actually be ported to physical world. So in our case, we combine two kinds of NFTs. So one NFT that basically is our OVR land that defines some geographic coordinates. And then the NFTs that represents the VR or AR assets that are combined with this OVR land that basically is an infrastructure. So if you own, let's say, an OVR land at the Colosseum, you can actually connect to that virtual land, a virtual asset that is also an NFT. So that's our vision, and that is how it works, and how also all these metaverses will come together. So basically, OVR allows to anchor 3D assets from any platform. So they can be built on our platform, but they can also come from other platforms to actually work inside the real world.
I'm really curious how OVR has a vision to integrate all those advanced technology for preparing people with better experience in Metaverse later on. There's many NFT projects such as Decentraland, Somnia Space, and Sandbox. I don't think they consider that much to integrate those technology yet. Can you give some explanation?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like for example, these great projects that you just mentioned, we don't see them as competitors. For example, we just see them like co-competitors, let's say, because really we are focused on different metaverses, if you want to say like that. So they are really focused on VR, and they are doing an excellent job. We are focused on AR. And of course, we also have VR capabilities, because our technology also allows to create a totally virtual world. But our focus is really geolocalizing in real world, in real space.
And how do you see the current market right now for exploring good opportunities for OVR to stand out among our projects?
Absolutely. So everybody knows how big of a trend is right now play to earn, especially thanks to the incredible success that X Infinity had. And so people are really living in the metaverse in that case, because basically they are earning money and living in this space. So there are people in the Philippines that doesn't have a physical job anymore. They work just for X Infinity. So really we X Infinity showcase how actually people can live and earn in the metaverse. So in our case, we have a first use case of this play to earn in the metaverse. That is our treasure hunt. So basically people was able to go around and went physically in 1 million locations to collect our tokens. So right now, the tokens can be used to buy the virtual land, but in the next weeks, we will allow to actually convert those to actually OVR tokens that then you can convert in anything. So this is the first use case that it is, and that's been very successful so far. So in this first iteration of this play-to-earn game, we've been distributing our tokens. But what we are building right now, and you will see in the next weeks, actually, the first iterations, we will also distribute NFTs from other projects. So I cannot share you yet the name, but you will see it next week, probably. We just closed a deal with a very successful NFT project. So something similar to Bored Apes. If you want to have an idea, what is it? It's not the Bored Ape, but it's something similar to that. And so basically, these assets are NFTs, so are permissional assets. But in some cases, they are a little bit passive because, of course, you have those, you can collect those, but you cannot do so much more. So in OVR, our vision is to actually allow to these assets to have something more, to do something else with these assets. So the first iteration of this will be basically a treasure hunt where instead of collecting our tokens, you will collect NFTs. So you will go around and collect those assets in the physical world. So they are not only on the screen of your mobile and maybe on your desktop, but are merged with the reality. So you can go around and collect those. Like people used to collect Pokemon Go, but now they are collecting NFTs that have a real value and can be exchanged and so on. So that is second iteration of what is our play-to-earn vision. And then we have a third very, very important for us iteration of this play-to-earn. Actually, we don't call it anymore play-to-earn. We call it scan-to-earn. So as I was mentioning to you, OVR is an infrastructure. What we want to build is an infrastructure for the AR metaverse. And in order to do that, we want to map the whole world. So we've been working the last months on AR algorithms that can transform pictures in 3D maps of the physical world. So basically right now, when you place some AR asset in some place, you have the GPS precision that is around 6 meters. So the precision is not so high. But if you scan a place, you can actually go to centimeter precision. So you can actually place items and create very, very complex interactions with the actual world that is outside yourself.
Do you also have interesting product to release regarding what you just said about the concept of creating innovative metaverse in reality?
So what we will enable, and that will be in the next 2 months, is what we call a scan to earn. So basically, we will convert all those people that have been going around in 1 million locations to collect our tokens to people that go around and actually scan the lands and earn money to do that. And those money will come both from us, that we will incentivize this, but will come also from OVR landowners. I just need to say that, we already sold 340,000 of these virtual lands. And of course, these virtual lands have more value if you also have a 3D map, actual 3D map of what is actually in reality of that location. So we see both us incentivizing for that, but also we see the OVR land owners that will be willing to pay for this micro job that is go around and scanning lands. And this is very also interesting for social inclusion because in this way we can create micro jobs of people going around the world and scanning lands. And the only thing that they need to have is a smartphone. So the smartphone is enough for them to, earn inside of our metaverse.
Yeah, by looking back to September, we've been through such a crazy month for crypto and NFT avatar from the CryptoPunk, Board Club, and Loot. I think the digital identity, especially reflected by NFT avatar, is recognized by the market. If you open OVR apps, I've seen a lot of people have the wearable to enter into the metaverse, interact with the OVR games. Is that what do you think, very important for people to have such a the metaverse class, social classes as well?
Yes, and also you need to think that you can also scan a land that is not owned by anybody. You scan it, and then you just offer in sale that scan. So, there's really many microeconomies that can be created around that. And this is the difficult part, actually. And that is what the Axie Infinity was really excellent in doing, because the point of Axie Infinity is not about really the game, but it's about creating a circular economy. So there is people that want to spend time to do things, and other people that don't want to spend time and want to spend crypto, or let's say money, to purchase the assets that those people created. So our vision really is to create something very similar to that is sustainable. So it's the circular economy, because of course treasure hunt is good. Distributed tokens is good, but of course it's not something sustainable. Not something that you cannot distribute tokens forever without destroying the price of your token. While Axie Infinity, what it's doing is building something circular, and this is something that also we are building. So we are super excited about that. In the next week, we are going to release another important milestone for us, that is what we call AR Worlds. So basically, we are going to create some competitions for creators to create the best augmented reality experience on our platform. So we will have a prize for that of $10,000 each month. And so the best projects will be awarded this kind of reward. So we expect that this will attract even more creators to our platform. And so to create very cool and very high quality content for this metaverse.
It's very good you make it easily accessible for people to use the application. And I still think we're in a very early stage of metaverse mass adoption. And I believe there's so many voices saying the metaverse is the future, and we like in the blockchain and OVR both we believe this is the future as well. And only a land in metaverse could have same value as in the same world. And how do you perceive that through the product development trajectory of OVR, and how do you convince people to get on board for this metaverse journey?
All of us already live in a metaverse, even maybe before the name was not that one, but we live in this digital world. So also talking about NFTs craze and so on, that have these valuations so high, higher than physical pieces, and people is very surprised about that. But I guess that we should not be surprised about that, because we already live in that world. So, also if you think at younger generations that, are even more digitally native than us, for them, they pass so much time in this virtual world that is, it's very clear that assets that exist in that world will have a value and have a value. So, for sure, right now we are in a craze moment, in a bubble moment, but this doesn't mean that this will go away. So, for me, the value proposition is very clear. So we are moving digital. This is a clear history trajectory that we are seeing every day. So, moving from the internet on the desktop to smartphones, and then smart glasses, and then probably Elon Musk will work with this brain interface, and we will not even have glasses anymore. So this is a trajectory, and we are going there. The exponentiality of the growth of technology, Moore's law is still valid. Every 18 months, for the same amount of money, you have double the computation power. So that is the direction, and it's growing, and it's going very fast. So, our vision is that, investing in metaverses right now is like investing in web domains in the early 2000s. So this is just gonna grow and grow and grow. So, for us, it's a no-brainer that this industry will keep growing. And now, of course, there was the big haha moment, because basically Facebook came out and said that it's gonna build the new platform of the metaverse. But actually, my belief is that the real metaverse that have real value will be decentralized and will be interoperable. And so this is really the future, and we are lucky to be here on the grassroots of this movement.
I find that OVR also has this NFT avatars. where most of the gamers could choose fully equipped accessory once they enter into the OVR metaverse. And can you explain what is the logic to integrate digital profiles into the OVR metaverse?
So we want to interact with others. So for us, this aspect of having avatars, animated avatars, and be able to interact with other avatars very easily is a very critical component of our platform. And we believe also that is something that is very powerful if compared to other competitors in this world. And what we want that this have to work with a mobile phone. So you just need a mobile phone to teleport yourself to anywhere in the world.
Also, I'd like to hear, and if you can give some prediction about some board statement about what OVR is building and the future innovation of metaverse NFT will be look like.
So, and also this avatar thing is very interesting aspect because we are living, I was mentioning, we are living in this exponential age where many technologies are growing so fast. And there is also some technologies that are going to be contaminated between each other. And what we see and what we're working on is also AI. Because right now, AI is growing very fast. And I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but there is especially a part of AI that is NLP, so natural language processing, that has been growing very, very fast in the last 3 years. So there are algorithms like GPT-3 that actually you can use to basically create really human-like conversations. You can actually bring back people from the past. You can train the model and say, okay, you are Goethe or you are Albert Einstein, and so please speak with me. And that NLP, that AI will speak with you like it's that person. So what we are also very excited about, and we will add to our avatars, is these NLP capabilities. So right now we are avatars. What we are building also is basically avatars that are, let's say, AIs with their personalities. So basically you will be able to actually bring not only an avatar, but an avatar with an intelligence and interact with it. So, and also the interesting thing is that these personalities also can be NFTs, because basically you can define personality by a story of a person, and you can use this algorithm to animate the story. So we see really that the combination of all of these technologies and being able to integrate those in a platform to enrich the metaverse is something that will be really a game changer for the way we live and interact, not only with each other, but also with machines.
I think your develop team must be very busy to integrate all this advanced technology all together into one and build the own OVR metaverse.
I think for NFT nowadays, it's very important to have user loyalty and strong community. And can you tell us about how did your team incentivize the community before and after?
And also on that side, maybe just a little background on us and on our team and why we are building and we are able to combine all of these technologies. Is that's because basically we've been lucky because we was born here in Italy inside the competence center, where from a company that had different kind of competence. So there is the people that build blockchain, there is the people that build AR, and there is the people that build artificial intelligence. So basically, OVR was born from the combination of this vertical know-how that was developed actually for other companies before. So we've been very lucky to be in the right place in the right time and to be able to bring all of this together. And so that's it.
So it's like small Silicon Valley inside of Italy where you're located at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's very creative.
We have this. We call this digital embassy. We are in the north of Italy. We have this co-working where we have all this competence and we bring it together. Otherwise, it would not be possible to do that, because Usually people tend to specialize in one single aspect. And this technology is also so specialized that it's very difficult to have a single person to actually or single company to be able to bring all these things together. So we've been lucky to have this all this know-how in the same place and together. And also we've been growing a lot, because since when we launched the project back in December, it was 6 people working here. Now we are in 24 people, and we're still growing. So I mean, it has been a crazy ride, and it's still a crazy ride. So it's really nice to be here now.
From the collaboration earlier, I've been briefly looking into OVR players' numbers. It reached around 30K, correct me if I'm wrong, with 11K wallet holders. It is a very impressive growth.
We believe in what we would like also to be able to communicate better, probably also in the Asian market, that actually we believe that the real long-term value is in NFTs, because NFTs is the building blocks of this metaverse, of the metaverse itself. Without NFTs, the metaverse doesn't exist, or it exists just in a centralized fashion, like, for example, Facebook want to do, or other games that are just a closed ecosystem. So really, NFT is what unleashes the potential of the metaverses. So we believe that, and I mean, at least also we see in our platform generally what happened, that we have really the long-term investors, the people that really believe in the vision of the project, usually are more NFT investors than actually ERC20 tokens investors. So really, in Asia and China, we think we have a lot of space to grow, and we're also looking for the right partner to be able to communicate this message. So the message about the metaverse, the message about the power of NFTs, and what is their importance as building blocks of this new world that we crazy people are building.
Yeah, sure. And OVR is built over Ethereum blockchain, right? And what did you started to communicate with them? What attracted you the most to build upon the Ethereum blockchain?
Yeah, this is a very good question. So basically, as I mentioned too many times maybe, we're building an infrastructure. So in order to build an infrastructure, an incredibly neutral infrastructure that is an open infrastructure, we need to take the less risky approach in this risky business. So we decided to go for the platform that is more decentralized, the smart contract platform that is more decentralized and more credibly neutral. So that of course has some advantage and disadvantages. Of course, the advantage is the huge amount of developers and creative power that you have on Ethereum. Let's not forget that NFTs were born in Ethereum, Uniswap was born in Ethereum, so AMMs were working in there. So all the innovation really comes from this ecosystem, and all the big money is in this ecosystem. Of course, there is also some downsides of Ethereum. As everybody knows, the transaction fees have been terrible. Have been almost killing also our project, because, as I was mentioning, the cost of an OVR land is $10. So you're not going to mint an NFT of $10 if the cost is $60, no? So it doesn't make any sense. In fact, for that, actually, we create a live minting function that basically is a decentralized option to mint later on the NFT. And so this has been a very complex thing to work with, but we are still very convinced that Ethereum is the right place to be. And especially now that finally, after months, we have L2s that are out there and ready to go and roll. Basically today we've been talking every day, both with Arbitrium and with ImmutableX. We are trying to understand what is the best solution to move on. But in the next weeks, we will start moving the whole infrastructure on L2s. So basically, high gas fees will be a problem of the past. And so we are happy that we've been patient enough to wait for that, but that finally came out. So, and then, as you know, there is a roadmap that is moving on Ethereum. So we will have Ethereum 2 probably in the middle of the next year with sharding. And so even more capability for transactions. So we believe that while 1 year ago, there could be some doubts about the fact that Ethereum could scale, right now, especially in the last weeks, it has become very clear that this is happening. And so we are happy that we've been in the right place. Also because, we are in this industry since 2018, and we've been observing also other projects that decided to go in other platforms. For example, I will not give names, but there is one of our competitors that was building on EOS. And also us, we was considering going on EOS because, the transaction, there was no transaction fees actually, but they have a different system. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we decided to take the less risky approach and go on Ethereum. And in hindsight, that was a very good choice because right now, as you know, EOS is not cool anymore. It's like 30 on the, it's not anymore really considered that much. And also the project that built over that platform suffered a lot for that. So, it's like that we are building something very risky and very, we believe, something that can be very, very big, but also is very risky to build. So our belief is that actually to add additional risk of the infrastructure you're building on, it is not a good idea. And until now, we've been demonstrated to be right. So I cannot really talk about the future because the future is very difficult to predict. But we believe that Ethereum right now has enough traction and enough. There is so much activity, economic power, and so on that we really believe that we are in the right place. And also, if you look at all of this NFT craze, it basically happened on Ethereum.
Yes.
So that is undeniable, no? So maybe it will also blossom in other chains, like DeFi was born in Ethereum, and then because of transaction fees, grow a lot in Binance chain. But let's not forget that the most of the value is still on Ethereum, no? So yes, there are competitors out there, and it's good that we have competitors because it keeps Ethereum pushing. But we believe that the first mover advantage of Ethereum will be hardly displaced by this other chain. And also this is also the bet that we have with OVR, because sometimes people ask us, but can somebody else build the same? And say, of course, somebody else can build the same, and already build the same in some cases. But the point is not building something, is having a community around you. You can fork Bitcoin today and having Bitcoin Diego, but nobody will buy that. So it's also a common misconception. No, it's not really about. It's also about the better technology, but it's mostly about the better community. So it's more the success, especially in this space, is more about community engineering than about technical engineering. So again, we are moving fast. We are trying to move as fast as we can, especially because we want to build a critical mass around OVR to be able to so that it will be very hard to displace us.
So far, we covered technology integration, OVR product trajectory according to market opportunities, and I want to know what kind of changes you want to see in the space, especially in the people holding NFT are ready to enter into the metaverse, and there's a lot of big players are ready to enter and make games and play. And what kind of changes do you want to see in order to help a company like OVR to grow better in the future?
Well, I think that the real bottleneck right now, since we are in blockchain space, is the complexity around interacting with the blockchain. No? So, for me, it's quite simple. And for everybody that uses the blockchain, and is a little familiar with that. It's not so hard, but actually we are not the right persons to think about. No? So there is the penetration of this technology, this ecosystem is still very small. Probably is 1% of our population that is interacting with the blockchain. So we have a huge space to grow. But in order to grow, we as community, as infrastructure, we need to be able to welcome other people that is not in a blockchain right now more easily. Because if you think about the user experience, for example, for any centralized entity, you was mentioning Google or Facebook or so on. Let's say that you lost your password, you can easily send an email and recover it. This will not happen in a blockchain. If you lose your keys, you lose everything. So this is just one aspect that scares people out of this industry. So I think that the most important thing is to lower the barriers to entry to this ecosystem. And once we lower that barriers, there is no limit. We have so much growth potential. No? So I think that this is also a good thing because if we were in an industry where there was nothing to do more, we say, okay, we're here, we will grow a little bit. But it's not like that. We are in an industry that has a tremendous growth potential because it had clear rational advantages over centralized entities that build the same and have a huge growth potential because there are still some bottlenecks that are not solved yet. So once we solve that and once this open source culture, once this decentralized culture permeates more in society, we're just gonna grow more and more and more because it's clear. And I go back to some field that I love, but is distant from what I'm doing to DeFi. So if you put your money in the bank today, how much return you get? Maybe 0.5%, maybe less. If you lock your USDT in some battle-tested smart contracts like Compound or Aave, you can get between 3 and 5% interest yearly with no risk, taking those away whenever you want. So this is just much more better than the traditional world. So the question is why not only capital are in blockchain yet and still exist banks and deals so bad like giving you 0.5% interest. That's because of complexity. That's because of the mindset. That's because most of our population doesn't really trust this system yet, doesn't know how to work with it, and the user interface is not good enough yet. So I think that really the way to onboard people is to make things easier. And in our case, in our specific case, we are trying to do this by allowing also people to enter the system with a centralized fashion, like for example, pay with credit card and us managing their tokens for them. But of course, this is something that is a quick fix, but is not the thing that will really make a difference. So the real difference is when we convince the people that this industry is safe, is not a place for scammers or thieves or people that blackmail other people. Is an industry very transparent, much more transparent than any other system. And this is an industry where people can own a piece of this and can have a say on what is going to be the development of the project they love and they invest in. So we are also very interested in all this DAO movement. We have a long-term vision of basically leaving the governance of our platform with DAO. Right now, this is not possible because we are moving too fast. So, we believe that each project needs to be centralized at the beginning to be able to move fast. But the long-term vision is to give, the keys, control of this platform to the people that care about that.
Thank you for sharing all this vision and technology insight about OVR.
Thank you everyone for listening mToken podcast Metaverse series. Subscribe to mToken YouTube channel, follow mToken Twitter account to get the latest information.